Hi everyone, it's Chrissie and welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. So in today's build we're actually going to be working in Forgotten Hollow, and I haven't built in Forgotten Hollow in, honestly, probably since last October. I think might have been the last time that I did anything in Forgotten Hollow, and I think that was might have been like the Vitor siblings house that I did for my save file. So yeah, it's been a while. But yeah, so today we're actually building in Forgotten Hollow again, and we're building for my save file yet again, because apparently that is the only time that I ever build in this world. And I don't know why that is, but yeah, in any case, I'm taking advantage of it, and it is kind of fitting because, you know, it is spooky month and all of that stuff. And this is the first, I think, proper, like, I guess you would say, like, spooky build on the channel. I don't think any of my other videos this month have been spooky builds, or like even really like autumnal builds. I did a like autumnal like fall festival ground lot back in September as part of the Sweater Weather save file collab, but I don't think I've done anything in October yet. I think all of my builds have been fairly, like, I guess you would say, like, normal builds. But yeah, so we're building an absolutely huge vampire and alien mansion in today's video, and I say huge because this house took me, like, when I finished recording, I had like 8.5 hours worth of video footage, and that was without me first planning it out, because I did plan it out a little bit beforehand. I always do that with my builds, especially big ones. I spent like 3 hours or so planning it out, just trying to make it all fit on this lot, because the lots in Forgotten Hollow are annoyingly small. Like, there's two 30 by 30s, there's two 30 by 20s. We're building on a 30 by 20 today, and then there's Vlad's lot, so it's a 40 by 30, I think. And it makes no sense to me, because there's so much space around the lots themselves. I feel like all of these lots could have been at least like maybe one size bigger. So yeah, in any case, the reason I say this is a huge mansion is because it's for an absolutely huge family. Even though it's only on a 30 by 20 lot, it ended up being 6 bedrooms and 5.5 bathrooms. There's actually a totally separate, like, almost granny flat type space. The part of the house on the left, when you look at it from the front, there's a little part of the house that's a little bit like almost separate. It has its own entrance. That's where those big modern windows are. That part of the house is kind of like the granny flat, which I will talk a little bit more about in just a second when I tell you about the family. But if you've ever downloaded my save file, if you've downloaded the first version of my save file, like the public version, or if you have played in the channel members version, which is basically my tier 2 and tier 3 channel members, they actually get access to a work in progress version of my save file. So a version that's a little bit further along than the public version. There's more lots added, there's maybe been families added. Also some setup, like behind the scenes stuff, has been done that hasn't been done in the public version yet. But I don't feel like I can release the save file publicly yet, because it's not like perfectly polished, if that makes sense. So yeah, if you've played in even like the public version though, this family is already in my save. They just don't have a house in the public version. But basically, this family is called the Valentine family, and it's a family of aliens and vampires, you know, like I said, which it will make sense in like a little bit when I talk about them. But I do just want to mention that I am still recording in the living room. I don't know, honestly, I don't know whenever I'll move back into my bedroom. Like, I haven't had the motivation or the energy to move my whole setup back into my room. It's a big pain. If you've ever moved a complete like recording setup, you know, it's not fun. So I haven't moved back yet. And today is like a super hot day where I am. So I have had to turn my fan off, which honestly I am kind of already regretting. We're like 5 minutes into the voiceover. We have 40-ish minutes left to go of just the voiceover portion, and then I still need to do the tour at the end as well. But yeah, I had to turn my fan off because you could hear it on my mic and it kind of annoyed me. So I am like sweating my ass off. I had to close the front, like we have big sliding glass doors. I had to close those because they face out onto the street. And you know, when our neighbors like make any sort of noise, you can hear it, which again, not great. And then my dog is asleep on the couch and he moves around a lot and he snores and all of that stuff. So yeah, if you hear any background noise, basically just ignore that. Also, if I am a little bit scatterbrained, then yeah, blame it on the heat. I don't function well in the heat. And also, I was up at 8 a.m. this morning, even though I didn't go to bed until after 2 a.m. So I didn't sleep a lot either, and it's been a long day. It's already been a long day, and we're not even at 5 p.m. yet. So yeah, just ignore me if I'm a little bit scatterbrained and rambly and all over the place. This is also a very long voiceover, and I don't know what I'm going to talk about for that long. But anyway, I digress. Moving on. Like I said, very big house. 6 bedrooms, 5.5 bathrooms. It's actually 4 stories. Mind you, there's two floors upstairs, so there's like a ground floor and a first floor, or I would call it like a first and a second floor. But then we also have a 2-story basement, so we have 1 floor in the basement and then another floor underneath it, which yeah, you will see me add that later on. I don't know, I can't remember if I've already added it or if I'm adding it later. But there are quite a few things that I had to cut out of this video, unfortunately, because like I said, I had an obscene amount of footage for this build. And when I sped it all up, it ended up being like an 1.5 hour long video, which there's no way I'm putting out a 1.5 hour long speed build, which probably would have been closer to 2 hours once I had done the tour and all of that stuff. There was just no way I was going to be able to talk for that long. So I had to cut it down quite a bit. It took me forever to edit down, and it ended up being like 45-ish minutes, just the speed build. So yeah, I had to cut out a lot. I cut out the bathrooms, I cut out the hallways. There's a landing space upstairs on the 2nd floor that I kind of turned into a little bit of a almost like activity type room. So there's a foosball table, there's a family computer, I guess you could say, there's a dartboard, there's a bookshelf with some seating, you know, all of that kind of stuff is on the first floor, not the first floor, the 2nd floor landing. So just to make that space a little bit more usable with how the floor plan turned out, I had a fairly big landing space that I wanted to do something with. So yeah, I cut that out. I cut out, obviously, like I said, all of the bathrooms. I also cut out one of the bedrooms. The bedroom in this more modern, it's not really modern, but the bedroom where I have that big modern window. There's a bedroom in there that honestly is probably the least, not the least important, but it's the least interesting, I guess you would say, of all of the bedrooms. The main almost living space attached to that bedroom, of that little granny flat space, is a little bit more interesting for me. And I figured, you know, I did detail it a little bit more than I did the bedroom. So I do show that, but I cut out the bedroom. And all of the other stuff that I ended up cutting out, honestly, I cannot remember what I did cut out and what I didn't. I only edited this yesterday, but it took me I think I edited for 4 hours, and it honestly, I think I've blocked that whole experience out of my head. So I can't really remember what I did and did not keep in the video. So I'm going to be pleasantly surprised as we go through this. But all of the build, I will show you guys everything at the end in the tour. So yeah, just stick around for that. I will also obviously have timestamps in the description. So if you want to jump ahead and just watch the tour and not sit and listen to me ramble for 45 minutes, feel free to do that as well, always. But yeah, I also, on the topic of video tours, this is I'm so off topic, but yeah, on the topic of video tours, I wanted to ask you guys if you prefer me doing the live tours at the end where I kind of take you through the build in real time, or if you prefer the old way that I did things where I had screenshots of the whole build. Let me know down in the comments, because I know I asked this a few months ago. I think I asked this, honestly I can't remember when I did ask this, probably at the beginning of this year maybe. But I asked if you guys like, having tours, and the majority of you said yes, so that's why I started doing those live tours. But I figured, the channel has grown a little bit since then. It's been a little bit of it's been some time as well. So I figured, just ask again, just check in with all of you. So yeah, let me know if you prefer the live tours or if you prefer screenshots. But yeah, so what was I talking about? I don't know. See, this is what I mean. Like, I have just, my train of thought is, honestly, it's been derailed so many times today already. Like, I cannot keep a train of thought to save my life today for some reason. But yeah, so we've actually moved on into the interior. As you guys could probably see, there isn't a lot going on outside. I do have a little porch out the front that I do end up putting some things on at the end. But it's not much. There's not much of a yard to speak of. Just because it is a 30 by 20 lot, this house takes up most of the lot because it is so big. So we have 6 bedrooms, 5.5 bathrooms, but we also have a huge kitchen, a huge dining room, massive living room as well. We have a library, yeah, I guess you would say library music room, because there's a piano in there as well as a research machine, like the research machines that came with Discover University. I have one of those in the library. Then we have obviously the little granny flat to the side that I didn't put another kitchen in as well, because I already have this big kitchen, and having multiple kitchens on one lot always annoys me gameplay wise. But also the sim that I have living in that separate, it's kind of almost like a separate little apartment. That sim is actually a vampire, so she doesn't need a kitchen, she doesn't cook, she doesn't really eat food. I don't think she has the vampire weakness where they can't eat human food, but she doesn't need to. So she doesn't have a kitchen, and the whole house, the big house, has an absolutely massive kitchen, so if she wants a snack, she can just go get one in there. And yeah, you guys will see that the kitchen itself, I used some of the new Home Chef Hustle items, the appliances, and then I just used the counters from, I believe, Jungle Adventure. Those are some of my favorite counters. And a lot of the things in this house are going to be very old looking, like this dining room, for example, the fireplaces, a lot of the library stuff. There's definitely an air of this is a very old house, and a lot of these furniture items and rugs and paintings and stuff are maybe centuries old. But then there's also going to be modern touches, like the kitchen has very clearly been renovated quite recently. The bathrooms have been renovated as well. I don't show me doing any of the bathrooms on camera, but all of them have modern plumbing. There's, flat screen TV. There's a flat screen TV in the living room. I don't use a TV. I use the painting TV that looks like a painting, but it's actually a TV. I use that one in the living room. We have computers all over the place, obviously. And then in the basement, when you go down to the basement, you actually access it through a staircase and door in the dining room. You go down into the basement, and it's basically like a normal basement that a lot of people might have in their houses. There's a bathroom down there, a little bit older looking, the items in the bathroom, maybe that one hasn't been renovated yet. But, it has old stone flooring, it's an old basement clearly, but it's a fairly normal basement. There's a closet, there's more couches, and another big TV and a game console. Kind of the kids hang out down there and watch TV, play games, hang out with their friends. It's also where I have the laundry, I have a games table down there. So, it's a fairly normal suburban basement, if that makes sense. It wouldn't look out of place in a normal suburban house. But then there's a couple of doors that you go through, and you enter the dad's office. Now, the dad in this house is a vampire. His name is Lucian Valentine. And in my head, in my head canon for the supernatural sims in my save file, He is one of the oldest vampires in the game, like in existence, basically, in like Sims world. And he's probably like the same age as like Vlad. Like they're very close in age. So he's very, very old. But he actually works as he's actually in like the professor education career. So he's, in my head, he's probably like a college professor or something. And he's also an archaeologist. So he loves history. He loves like, you know, history, artifacts, all of that stuff. On Twitter, I mentioned this, but I mentioned like he's basically a vampire version of Indiana Jones. So yeah, so his office is this huge room with, at the back there's his desk. There's also a like artifact table from Jungle Adventure where you can identify artifacts. I have a bunch of like unidentified artifacts stacked around, and there's obviously a lot of bookcases as well. But then I have these big display cases that I fill up with Jungle Adventure artifacts. I put some things from the Werewolves pack that look like artifacts or maybe like mystical items. I put those in there, and you know, just a bunch of stuff like that where it looks like we're actually working on it right now. But yeah, so as you can see, I've already filled up a lot of these like slots in these display cases, and now I'm just cheating to move some of them in there a little bit better. But yeah, so those are the display cases, and that was a really quick look at his office as well. I haven't started working on it yet, but yeah, so that's the dad. He's very much like, he's very into history. He has multiple degrees, and you know, he loves learning. So he decided to use his basically eternal life to keep learning, and then, you know, when he could, he started teaching as well. So that's the dad. But we've actually moved on to the little like almost library space, which the layout for this took me forever to figure out. I did cut out some of it, but it took me forever to figure out the layout for this room because it's this weird like L shape, and I knew I needed to have that piano in there. So yeah, it took me forever to figure out. But yeah, so that's the dad, and the dad is probably the one, not probably, he is the one that this house is his. This is the house that he's had for centuries. It's the house probably where he lived with his first wife as well, and also where, you know, his oldest daughter was born. So the dad has a daughter called Briar, who's a vampire. She's actually the one that lives in the little like separate, almost like apartment type space that I'll talk a little bit more about once we get to it. But he has a daughter. She's a vampire. Like I said, he's also a vampire. And in my head, she's also quite old. She's like multiple centuries old. And, you know, she had a mom. His first wife, she was obviously also a vampire. Her name was Victoria. And I did create her so that she would be in the family tree. And then I kind of like unalived her for storytelling purposes. But in my head, you know, maybe like, I don't know, a decade or maybe 2 decades after Briar was born, humans actually discovered them and they unalived her mom. So, you know, human, vampire, not great mixes type thing. So yeah, it obviously, like, this was back in maybe like the 2nd century or something. So a lot of years ago. And Lucian was a single dad for like all of the time after that. He never remarried. He never, you know, he never remarried. He basically devoted all of his time to raising Briar and like learning and all of that stuff. His travels, his studies, obviously, you know, all of that, those kinds of things. And then recently, I say recently in vampire years, but probably, you know, like at least 25 years ago at this point, he met Aurelia, who is actually an alien. He didn't know that at the time. He probably really quickly discovered that, just because it's The Sims. They always discover when other Sims are aliens. Like, I don't even know why aliens bother with having disguises, because Sims just immediately seem to find out that they're aliens in any case. But anyway, yeah, so Aurelia, he met her, they fell in love, they decided to get married, and they had 4 kids together. So they have 2 sets of twins, they have 2 teenagers, and then they have 2 kids as well. So the way that I split that up is they have a boy and a girl teenager, and then a boy and a girl like child. But the teenagers, the girl is called Evangeline, and she's actually a vampire. Her twin brother Ezekiel is an alien. Then we have the kids. Adrastea is the girl. She is an alien. And we have, I believe, Abel. Yeah, Adrastea and Abel. Abel is the vampire child. So I kind of like, I tried to make it like an equal split between, you know, their kids of like who's a vampire, who's an alien. That's just, I don't know, that's kind of how I figured it would work out. But yeah, so they have 5 kids in this house now. So, I mean, if you count Briar as a child, which she isn't, she's a young adult, but, you know, Lucian has 5 kids, and they all still live in the house, basically. So, yeah, that is why this house needed to be so big, and why it took me so long to figure out the floor plan and the shape of it, because I knew I needed to fit in space for all of them. But yeah, so we've actually started working on the basement downstairs. This is, like I said, the more normal looking basement. So this is maybe where the teens would hang out with their friends, or maybe the kids would hang out with their friends. You know, all of this stuff is fairly normal stuff that you might expect to find in the basement. Nothing weird, nothing creepy. It's just the basement. There's even some laundry machines in there. And then the one door that leads off to the left is where the dad's office is. And then through that office, we actually have another door that leads you to a staircase that leads you down another floor. And the second floor of the basement is where all of the weird stuff is. So that is where they have basically like a crypt with 3 different coffins in it for the vampires. Obviously, Lucian, Briar, and Evangeline are all vampires that they can sleep in coffins because, you know, Evangeline is a teenager. So yeah, they can all sleep in coffins. I don't think any of them have the like weakness where they need to sleep in coffins. So that is why I also gave all of them their own bedrooms on the second floor of the house. Like, they all have bedrooms with normal beds. And, you know, I figured they do sleep in there, but they only sleep in the coffins when they need to recharge their vampire energy. So we have the crypt downstairs with, you know, all of the coffins and all of that stuff. But at the end, a little bit more towards the end of the video, I also go in and add in another room down there where I have some planters and where I'm actually having them grow some like plasma fruit trees, because I completely forgot that that was a thing that they could do. And I figured, you know, with them having children, they probably wouldn't like they probably would prefer, let's just put it that way, they would prefer to teach their kids not to grab unsuspecting Sims off of the street when they're hungry, you know. So they do teach them to, you know, eat plasma fruit, and, you know, they make those like plasma fruit basically like juice boxes out of plasma fruit and stuff like that for the kids. And, you know, Lucian is the total opposite of Vlad as well, by the way. Like, even though with what happened to his first wife, he doesn't hate humans. He doesn't hate like the other occults, like werewolves and stuff like that. He's actually friends with werewolves. I believe I have his best friend in the game, in my save, set as Christopher Volkov, the leader of the Moonwood Collective pack in Moonwood Mall. So, like, he's the leader of one of the werewolf packs, is his best friend. So, yeah, he's the total opposite of Vlad, basically. So, you know, he probably wouldn't like having his kids, like, you know, grabbing unsuspecting Sims in the middle of the night when they're hungry. So, yeah, you know, that's just something to keep in mind. And I do put quite a few of these like really old portraits around. You'll notice that I put a portrait in Lucian's office, like in the study, right in the corner above some of the artifacts of this really pretty like vampire woman. I figured, you know, maybe that is a portrait of his late wife, because Briar actually has the exact same portrait in her like living room space upstairs in the little like apartment. I put the exact same portrait in there as well, because I figured, you know, maybe it is a painting of her mom. And you know, she lost her mom when, you know, not decades but centuries ago, maybe like 300-400 years ago. So they wouldn't have had pictures of her. Like, you know, it's not like she has a picture of her on her phone or something like that. They would only have these really old paintings of her that maybe were done back then and they've luckily just been able to hold on to for all of these years. So yeah, that's why there are a couple of those really old paintings around. And then the other old paintings of other like people and stuff like that, I figured maybe they were relatives, maybe they were pictures of like Lucian and Briar, or maybe Lucian and Victoria from previous like decades or centuries or whatever. But yeah, so that's just why I have some like really old looking pictures of Sims around. Now we've actually moved on to the little like apartment space for Briar, and as you can see, I did cut out me doing her bedroom just because it is the least decorated of all of the bedrooms, just because she's not someone that would have a lot of clutter and all of that stuff in her bedroom. She's not like that. She wouldn't have a vanity, she wouldn't have like, you know, all of that stuff. And I also like, she probably spends most of her time in her, this is kind of like it's kind of like a living room space for her, but it also doubles as an art studio because she is an artist. She does work in the painter career. You know, that's what I mean with like, they're the opposite of Vlad's family, where he wouldn't have a career where he would need to mix with regular Sims. Whereas Lucian, like I said, he works as a professor, and Briar works as a painter. She's a really, really talented painter. Obviously, she has had centuries to master that skill. But yeah, so this room is basically, instead of having another kitchen, like I said, she has a little art studio space. She also has another fireplace, another TV as well, with her own little like sitting room. There's also a desk with a laptop for her. I believe all of the kids, apart from the children, so both of the teenagers, Briar, and then obviously Lucian in his office, they all have their own computers or laptops or whatever. There's also another computer upstairs, like I said, in the landing space that I figured would kind of be like the, I guess you could say like family computer. But the kids also have their own tablets, so I gave them those like gaming tablets from, I believe, high school years. So yeah, I gave them some gaming tablets, even though they don't have their own laptops like the teenagers do. They do have their own gaming tablets because, duh, this family is stupidly rich because, you know, Lucian has been alive in my head for close to like 1,000 years at this point. So he has had a lot of time to accumulate wealth, and I figured, you know, all of the artifacts and relics and stuff like that that he also finds when he's working or traveling or whatever, they also make him very wealthy. So, you know, they have money. This family is not short on money. This lot actually ended up, I almost fell out of my chair when I saw it, but this lot actually ended up being 637,000 simoleons. Like, it is absurdly expensive. It is probably one of the top 3 most expensive builds that I've ever done, which is saying something. Now, in the landing space right by the stairs, I don't know if you guys saw it when we were panning the camera around, but I have this wall of diplomas and like certificates and like university diplomas and all of that stuff. Those things, I figured, I did take a little bit of inspiration from the wall that the Cullens had in their house in Twilight with all of the graduation caps. Now, obviously, we don't have graduation caps in the game that we can use as a decoration. So I basically have a bunch of different degrees and stuff because, like I said, Lucian does have a couple of different degrees. I think he has like 4 or 5 different degrees, like university degrees. Briar also has, I believe, 2 university degrees as well, both of the art ones. And then Aurelia, the mom, She also has a university degree because she has been on Earth for quite a while. So she's been, you know, living as a sim for a while. So she has a high school diploma, she has a university degree, maybe in university, not in university, but maybe when she was attending university, she met Lucian, and that is how they came to know each other. Maybe he was teaching a class, or she saw him around campus, obviously because he was teaching. So maybe she saw him around campus or whatever, and that is how they met originally. I don't know. You guys will have to come up with a story for how they met. I just know that they did. So yeah, so that is why I have that big, like, basically just wall of diplomas and stuff like that. Wall of, yeah, I don't know. It was a lot of fun putting that together, and I'm really sad that I had to cut it out, but it took me way longer than it probably should have taken me. But yeah, so moving on, we've actually already done the main bedroom. So the bedroom with the, it used to have this pale blue wallpaper, it now has a beige wallpaper. That is the main bedroom. They do have their own ensuite. The other bedrooms don't have their own ensuites as far as I can remember. Yeah, I don't think they do. I don't think they have their own ensuites. I could be wrong, but I don't think they do. I think I have it set up to where there's a full bathroom in the basement. Then Briar has her own full bathroom in her separate apartment. They have an ensuite for the main bedroom. And then there's a half bathroom downstairs on the first floor, I believe right off of I think it's off of the kitchen. I have a half bathroom. And then upstairs we have, I think, 2 other bathrooms. Yeah, so like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so upstairs I have 2 more full bathrooms that I kind of have. The kids, they're kind of split up their rooms, so they have almost like a wing for the teenagers and a wing for the children. So the teens rooms are the ones closest to the main bedroom, and they have their own bathroom that's right by their bedrooms. And then we also have the kids' rooms, who's like, they're basically on the opposite end of the landing, where they have both of their bedrooms and then their bathroom. So yeah, I think that's how I laid it out. But yeah, so there's plenty of bathroom space in any case. And yeah, I don't know, this house was absolutely gigantic. And of course, because it's me, I couldn't just tone it down with all of the clutter and the detailing and all of that stuff. I obviously had to go overboard and spent forever with the tool mod, you know, rotating paintings. I did that a lot actually in this build, especially in the kid and the teen rooms, and also I believe in the basement, where I put down paintings and I kind of used the tool mod to make it look like they were leaning against the walls, which I don't know, I feel like that looked so good in this build. And then also, this is Evangeline's bedroom, the teenage vampire that I mentioned. This is her bedroom. So she has a lot of creepier stuff in her room. So she has these candles from the paranormal stuff pack, that they're basically like the haunted candles. For her bedside lamps, instead of actual lamps, she has these 2 little ghosts, like specters that were caught. You can't see them now, but when you hit play in live mode, they will float around, these little blue specters. So she is obviously a little bit darker, you know, than her sibling or her twin, who's actually an alien. She's, you know, similar to the other vampire, to Abel, the child. They're a little bit darker. I did lean into that a little bit, but she's definitely the darkest out of all of the kids. So yeah, I don't know, I feel like she would love to do something like, you know, maybe practice like the medium skill or something. She's really into all of that stuff, which, she's a vampire, it does make sense. But she's also really into gaming, and she has this really big like gaming PC set up, and I feel like she would stream, she would be like a game streamer. And I don't know, I love the way that looked. I loved giving her this old bed, but then giving her these really modern clothes, like open clothes racks, and like this really big modern computer and stuff like that. I don't know, I loved the contrast of that. And then I also used this really weird doll from the paranormal stuff pack. It's a debug thing. And I used that doll both in her bedroom as well as in Adrastea, the girl's, like the small child's bedroom. The alien one, I gave that to her as well, which, you know, why not? Why not, like, give children some, like, really creepy haunted dolls for their bedroom? Like, why not? I mean, when your dad's a vampire, like, I guess it would make sense. Wow. I don't know what I just tried to say. I guess it would make sense that they wouldn't be creeped out by stuff like that growing up in Forgotten Hollow, you know? So, yeah, I don't know. I really like the way that looked. Now, we've actually moved on to Ezekiel's bedroom, the alien teenager's bedroom. He's also a little bit into gaming. I believe he might be more... No, he's really into sports. He's actually on the football team in high school, but he's an alien. So it's not like he has the unfair advantage in real life a vampire would have. But yeah, so he's on the football team, but he's also really into gaming. So he has another one of those computers from the high school years pack that look like, you know, they have double monitors. But he has the other one from his sister. So Evangeline has the curved monitor one. Ezekiel has the one with like the multiple monitors. And he's also really into music, especially the guitar. So I gave him some really cool looking guitars in his bedroom. And I don't know if you guys caught it, but in Evangeline's bedroom, I actually gave her 2 violins. I gave her the normal violin, and then I also did give her the 15,000 Simoleon violin, because why not? I literally never ever use that item because it's so absurdly expensive. Like 15,000 simoleons for a violin is absurd. So I never use it, but I figured for her, why not? I feel like she would be really, really good at the violin. And it's something that they could afford. So maybe it was like a birthday present or something from her dad. And maybe it's like a really old, like antique one that he, you know, maybe he had, or maybe he got somewhere and he gave to her. So yeah, I don't know, I like doing stuff like that. And then obviously Ezekiel is more into guitars, so he has a couple of guitars in his bedroom. Some of them look more like electric guitars, and then one that's like signed, so maybe it's like really rare or something. And he's also, like I said, really into sports, really into snowboarding. So both him and his brother Abel are really into snowboarding especially. So I gave them both this like wall decal poster thing from Snowy Escape that has this like snowboarder like print or whatever on it that I feel like they would totally have in their rooms. But yeah, that is basically it for Ezekiel's bedroom, and we've moved on to Adrastea's bedroom. Now her bedroom is definitely the brightest room in the house color wise, because the downstairs in the house is fairly bright and airy. You know, there's a lot of white, there's a lot of cream and beige. It's not super dark or depressing or anything like that. But, you know, Briar's bedroom and then the 2 teens' bedrooms are a little bit darker. But Adrastea's room, she's an alien, she's not a vampire. She has this really bright wallpaper from the Decor to the Max kit with these like bright orange flowers, and the color scheme that I go for in her room is going to be this like really inspired by that dresser actually. So it's going to have this like purple, orange and yellow color scheme, which I never use. I never do colors like that all in one room, but I absolutely love the way it turned out. So yeah, you guys will have to let me know what you think. And I don't know, I feel like I feel like giving all of these kids their own very personalized bedrooms is something that their parents would definitely do, especially with the style that the house is. It's a very old house. So I feel like their dad especially wouldn't have minded when, you know, they were born, you know, completely renovating all of their bedrooms, and then as they grew up, you know, making it the way that they would want it, because they can afford it. Why not do it? And I mean, it's not like a lot of kids would like having really old stone walls in their bedrooms. Like, I don't know, I would like that, but not most like 8-year-olds would probably like that. So yeah, I don't know, I really like that. I also like doing it in a way. Sorry, my dog just decided to get off of the couch, shake himself, make a lot of noise. But yeah, so I feel like I tried to keep the wallpapers, even though it's very personalized to them and to the colors that they like and, you know, all of that stuff, I still tried to keep it looking very like old. Not old, but like vintage and Victorian, and kind of like it fit the vibe, if that makes sense. So yeah, you guys will have to let me know what you think about it and how you think I did with that. But I also liked putting in a lot of posters in the kids' rooms and in the teenagers' rooms as well, which, I don't know, I feel like it's such a, like, you know, you might expect in a room or in a house like this to find a lot of like really old framed paintings, and then you just go into the kids' rooms and there's like a bunch of like posters and random stuff just stuck onto the wallpaper, which I don't know, in real life would probably be an absolute pain, because I can imagine like peeling a poster off of the wall and like it's sticking to the wallpaper underneath, and like in real life I feel like that would be an absolute pain. But it's The Sims and they don't care about that, so yeah, we're gonna ignore that. And yeah, so in her bedroom I actually put in a couple of Strangerville posters as well that look like, you know, some like alien posters and like things like that. I don't know, I really like doing little Easter eggs and stuff like that. Like, you, as a normal Sim, you wouldn't walk into this house or into these kids' bedrooms and think that they were normal kids, if that makes sense. I can't see a normal kid in maybe like Willow Creek having a bedroom like this. There's some weird things to it, if you know what I mean. Like the ghost on her desk and the creepy haunted doll and, you know, stuff like that. It's weird, but still kid weird. And I don't know, I love the way it looked. But we've moved on to the final bedroom. This is actually the little boy's bedroom, Abel's room. He is a vampire, like I mentioned, so his bedroom did end up being a little bit darker. He is a little bit, like, darker than his sister, and I just mean by, like, the colors that he likes. So he likes grey and black and blue, and I don't know, I feel like it was a nice, I don't know, contrast to his sister's a lot brighter bedroom. But he's really into sports, like I said, so like soccer, football, snowboarding especially. He's also a little bit more into art and stuff like that, so I do give him the little arts and crafts station. Whereas his sister is actually more into music, so I gave her a keyboard in her room. I don't know if you guys caught that, but I also gave her a little violin as well. So they're both fairly creative kids, but he's more so into arts and sports, and she's into like music. So yeah, I don't know, I try to give them their own personalities and make that shine through in their bedrooms. But we're actually almost to the end of this video, you guys, and I honestly cannot believe that I've managed to ramble for like 40 something minutes. I'm actually really impressed. But yeah, so, oh yeah, the kids, all of them actually are very into rock climbing, because Lucian is very into rock climbing. So Lucian and Briar and all of the kids, really, they're all very into rock climbing. I feel like they would take vacations to Mount Kimarebi, and while Aurelia, the mom, just hangs out maybe at like the onsen or something, you know, Lucian would take all of the kids up the mountain and they would like go mountain climbing and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know, I figured I would mention that. But I also wanted to mention that I did give this lot a couple of lot traits. I gave it the Vampire Nexus, Registered Vampire Lair, and On a Dark Ley Line lot traits, just because I figured, you know, it fit the vampire vibe, and they do have a lot of twins, so the ley line one also made sense. Now this grave outside is actually where I figured the grave would be for Victoria. So Lucian's first wife, I figured they would have that grave out there, and, you know, maybe it makes Briar feel a little bit better having her mom's grave so close by, and I feel like they would have been very close, and she really, really misses her mom a lot, even though it's been like 4 centuries. That is, personally, that is something I can definitely relate to. I can, just from not having my mom anymore, I feel like in 4 centuries I would still be missing her just as much. So yeah, that is basically this entire build, you guys. We're actually going to be adding that little, like, I guess you could say underground greenhouse, where I put in the plasma fruit trees and a couple of like other weird looking plants off camera. I put those in, which I will show you in the tour. But yeah, so we have a little underground greenhouse as well, with, you know, buy all of the coffins because, you know, why not? And yeah, that is basically going to be it for this build, you guys. But like I said, I will be going through the whole build in just a second in a live tour to show you anything that I cut out, all of that stuff. So stick around. If you want to download this build as well, it is up on the gallery. You can find it by searching for my gallery ID, which is ChrissieYT, or hashtag ChrissieYT, or just going to the link in the description. That will take you to the online gallery website. And then if you want the tray files for this build, they are up. What was I just saying? They are up for my channel members, and then in 3 weeks they'll be going up on my Tumblr as well for everyone to download. But yeah, the build itself is up on the gallery. So if you want to grab the build, everyone can grab it. It is up there. There's no custom content in it whatsoever. But it isn't pack restricted at all because it is for my save, and my save isn't pack restricted. So that is just something to keep in mind. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. And like I said, we're going to go ahead, jump on into the game. And I'm going to give you a little bit more of a tour around this house to show you anything that you might have missed in the video. So here we are with the Valentine Mansion, and I do just want to say I have a little bit of a disclaimer, but yeah, I am recording this like 8.5 hours after I did the voiceover. It's now like 1:30 a.m. So I have no idea what I said in the voiceover. I honestly cannot remember anything that I talked about in the voiceover. So yeah, just want to put that out there. Also, our inverter is charging right behind me. So if you guys can hear any background noise, more so than usual, I do apologize. It sounds like a big fan, but it's just the inverter. But yeah, I can't help that. We had load shedding. But yeah, so this is the finished build, you guys. And like I said in the voiceover, I remember this, but I said that I did cut out quite a bit of it. And yeah, that's just because of how big it is. So we're going to go through this whole place. So obviously, you know, there isn't a lot of yard space, you know, as you know, because the lot isn't all that big. It's only a 30 by 20. And the house takes up basically the entire lot. But we do have this nice little, almost like calm, little serene little garden space out the front with, you know, a gravestone as you do. And then we just have, right at the front, we have a little like porch bit with some seating. We have one planter box out here as well, which has a toxic chamomile in it because, you know, why not? And then we have just a little grill space as well. And that is basically the entire yard. So the house does have two entryways. We have the main entryway and then the entryway into the little like, I guess you could say, it's not really a granny flat because the daughter lives there, but it's kind of like a little separate apartment. So we're going to go through this one first, I think. So this is actually where I have the outdoor bin as well. But we have a little entryway for this little apartment, you know, everything that you would need in a little entryway. Then we have the, I guess you could say like main living space. Usually this would probably have a... like maybe like a little kitchenette in it or something like that. I do apologize, someone's phone just went off behind me, so again, very professional. But yeah, so this is where Briar has her like little own living room space, own TV, and then of course her little like art corner where she does all of her painting, her little desk set up as well. And then she has her own bathroom, and like I mentioned, the bathrooms are a little bit more modern than you might expect in a house like this. Kind of like, you know, they have obviously been updated. They've been given all new plumbing, tiling, you know, all of the above. So yeah, she has her little bathroom, and then she does have her own bedroom as well, which this is the room that I did cut out of the video. So yeah, it's just a plain nice bedroom. Also, I'm also using that wallpaper from the Decor to the Max kit, I believe, that I used in the like child's bedroom. So yeah, we have this wallpaper, very bright, not bright, but like very busy. So that is why I felt like I could cut out this this room, because I didn't do a lot of detailing because, you know, the wallpaper is so busy. So there's literally just a mirror, a bed, a closet, a chair, and that is it. So it's not super detailed, but that's kind of just the kind of sim that she is. She wouldn't have a lot of clutter and detailing and stuff like that. So yeah, going back to the main entryway. So we have the main entryway here, and then we have a little like entry foyer bit. So like, you know, little hallway table, chair for taking off your shoes, a little dresser right at the front as well, which I thought would be like the little coat closet. And then we have a little grandfather clock, you know, some places for family pictures as well. And then through this hallway, you can access the really big living room, not living room, dining room, with obviously a big fireplace, a couple of, you know, Lucian's collectibles that he found on some of his archaeological digs or whatever on the mantelpiece, a really giant dining room table, big mirror over there. We have a little, like, I guess you could say hutch slash, you know, maybe like nectar rack or whatever over here in the corner. And this is also where the door is that leads you into the basement, which we will go to in just a second. But let's go through this door first and take a look at the kitchen. So again, like I mentioned, the kitchen is another one of those rooms that has definitely been updated over the years, because I figured when it was just Lucian and Briar, they probably didn't use the kitchen all that much since they are both vampires. But, you know, ever since Aurelia joined the family and they've had, you know, more kids and stuff like that, they kind of need the kitchen because they're not all vampires. So yeah, we have a big, like a double oven set up, a lot of counter space. So if they ever do want to cook together, there's more than enough space for that. Obviously, I use some of the new Home Chef Hustle items and just a bunch of other combination of different packs. But yeah, over here we also have a little half bathroom as well, just toilet and a sink, more like a powder room basically. And then you can also access the living room from the kitchen as well. We have Aurelia in here watching some TV. And yeah, this is the archway that leads you into the like little front entryway. But yeah, we have the big, like, I sized up the TV, like the painting TV, another big fireplace, a jukebox or some music, bunch of seating, you know, dog toys, a bookcase over in the corner, and that is basically it. I wanted to prioritize function, I guess you could say, because yeah, I mean, I didn't want to like put a bunch of kids toys and all of that stuff all over the place, because that's just not, I figure the kids have more than enough space in their bedrooms and in the basement for all of their toys, and to make a mess they wouldn't do it in the main like living room space. But yeah, so through here we also have the, I guess you could say, like library skill building library room. We have Ezekiel over here actually playing some chess. But yeah, we have another fireplace. I use fireplaces in all of the big bedrooms, so like the main bedroom, Briar's bedroom, the study, the like library, the living room, dining room, just because I figured this would be a really old house, so they would have used it for heating. They would have needed the fireplaces for heating. But yeah, in here we just have the, like, I almost said dining table. That's not a dining table, it's a piano. We have the piano, we have the research station as well, where your Sims can do some research. Obviously chess table, bunch of bookcases, some reading spots, and then you can also access Briar's, I guess, separate little apartment from the library as well. So she doesn't need to go all the way around either. She can just, you know, cut through here and go through the library. But that is basically the entire first floor. Now going upstairs, over here we actually have the two kids. We have Abel and Aurelia just hanging out. But this is where we have that kind of almost like, I don't know, like activity landing space. I don't know what you would call it, but we have a dartboard, foosball table, another bookcase, a little reading corner over there. I have a couple of these like just couches just scattered around the place. But we have also the family computer, I guess you would say. So this is what maybe like Aurelia would use or the kids would use or whatever. So yeah, we have that little space. We have a little family picture that I put in of them. Obviously, if you move into this lot with a different family, then, you know, their picture will show up here. I just did this for, you know, I kind of like the way it looked. So we have the whole family over there. And then we also have the wall that I mentioned in the voiceover of all of the diplomas and stuff like that. So like all of the, you know, Brightchester diplomas and Foxbury and, you know, all of that stuff, because Lucian does have a bunch of different degrees. Yeah, he has like 5 different distinguished degrees. And then Briar, I also believe she has a couple. Yeah, she has 2 art degrees. Aurelia has a degree in language. So yes, they have a lot of degrees basically that they've accumulated over the years. But going off of the little landing space, we have the main bedroom. Obviously, we have another fireplace, this really gorgeous bed from Realm of Magic that I don't use nearly enough. But yeah, we have this really big, nice bed for them, for Lucian and Aurelia. They also have their own separate ensuite as well, which is actually, I believe, the biggest bathroom in the entire house. But yeah, they have a really nice big ensuite bathroom, very fancy as well, like very like a lot of like marble and gold, and I don't know, I love the way it looks. So that is the entire, like, I guess you could say, like, main suite. Now, going to the right, we actually have the kind of like the teenagers wing. So the 2 teenagers share this bathroom. So Ezekiel and his twin sister Evangeline, they share this bathroom. Then we have Evangeline's bedroom, which is definitely a little bit darker, but she's, like I said, very into gaming. So she has a very fancy setup. She also has a incredibly expensive violin. So yeah, we have the 15,000 Simoleon violin and another one as well. We have, you know, the creepy ass doll from Paranormal Stuff. Hello, Dahlia. Yeah, Dahlia. Oh, so wonderful, Dahlia. But yeah, then we also have the little, like, specters as well, which I mentioned that she basically uses as, like, bedside table. Not bedside tables, bedside lamps, which I absolutely love. So yeah, I have those. Then we have Ezekiel's bedroom as well, which again, I mentioned he's a little bit more into sports. He's also really into guitar, so he has a couple of really cool looking guitars. He's also into gaming a little bit, so he again has a kind of very fancy setup. But yeah, I also put a bunch of posters on all of the walls and all of that stuff. Like I said, he's also into snowboarding. And we have a dog bed in his bedroom because Nyx, their dog, is actually more Ezekiel's dog, because he's the one that's actually I believe, yeah, he has the animal, friend of the animal's aspiration. So I figured, you know, Nyx would probably be his dog. So her bed is in his bedroom. But yeah, that's the teenager's wing. And then right across the, I guess, landing on the opposite side of the house, this is the kids' wing, basically. So this is the bedroom that Abel and Adrastea would be sharing. Not the bedroom, the bathroom that they would be sharing. And we have Abel's bedroom over here. He's also, like I mentioned, very into sports, a lot like his older brother. And also like his dad, they love rock climbing and snowboarding and all of that stuff. But yeah, he's also into art, and yeah, so I put a lot of like just a random, he's very messy as well. So I wanted his bedroom to definitely look a little bit more messy. So yeah, he has a lot of like, you know, collectibles. He has a little game, like game tablet, a little like Star Wars, what do you call it, like a helmet up there. You know, very cute, very kid-like. And then we also have Adrastea's bedroom, who, like I mentioned, is the like youngest daughter. She's actually an alien, and her bedroom is definitely the most colorful out of all of the bedrooms in the house. She also has a creepy Dahlia doll, a game tablet, her own little desk setup, obviously. She has a little like keyboard in her room because she's also into music. So she's into piano and violin, so she has those. She has a doll's house in the middle of the floor, also a little bit more messy, you know, as kids are. And then just a bunch of posters. Maybe this is her like favorite movie, superhero movie, and a couple of framed like game pictures and stuff like that. Some more posters that are leaning on the floor, you know, all of that fun stuff. I absolutely love this bedroom. I think her room is probably my favorite bedroom out of the entire house, if I'm being honest. But yeah, that is basically the entire like second and first floor. Now going downstairs, we actually have Evangeline over here watching TV. But yeah, we have another big TV over here, and I do think the game deleted one of the shelves that I have up there, because that tends to happen with a lot of the modular furniture. There's supposed to be another like open shelf up here, like bookcase shelf with a game console in it, which, yeah, I don't know, the game is just weird. But yeah, so moving on, we have kind of like the space where I figured, you know, a lot of the kids would gather with their friends, watch TV, play video games, you know, all of that stuff. So we have another, I guess, more informal living room down here. We have a games table, we have some laundry, a lot of like clutter and maybe like old chairs, old records, you know, old towels or whatever just stored down there. We also have another full bathroom that definitely looked a little bit older than the ones upstairs, and that was intentional. Like, you know, they've renovated the ones upstairs, but not this one yet. So yeah, we have another full bathroom down there. And then through this door, we actually have Lucian's office. Now, this office, you guys, I am absolutely obsessed with how it turned out. Like, this just looks so cool to me with all of the collectibles and like the relics and all of that stuff, just, you know, just sitting around everywhere. And like, it's some really old stuff that he's just, you know, collected all over the centuries. And I love it. I absolutely love it. This is the picture that I thought would be of his first late wife that he has in his office. But yeah, he has his little desk set up. He has a little gathering space, maybe if he has meetings or if he just wants some peace and quiet to read, then he has that. He also has these display cases of all of his like fancy relics that he's found over the years that he displays over there. And that is basically his office. Now, going through the office, we have another staircase that leads you down another floor, where you have a little landing, like hallway space, where we have our our underground greenhouses with our plasma fruit trees. We have a Sixum mosquito trap as well for some weird reason that I thought would be cool, because I never used this plant. It looks really weird. I love it. And then we also have a couple of other plants. We have valerian, we have death flowers, because of course we would. And then we also have mandrake. And I only basically just picked those because they looked freaky and, I don't know, they fit the whole weird vibe of the house. So yeah, we have that. And then we also obviously have our crypt. So the crypt basically with all of the coffins in it. We have a little sofa space, so maybe if they, I don't know, want to hide out from the sun. If it's a super sunny day but they don't want to hibernate in their coffins, they can just, you know, chill on the couches or whatever. I also made this like fake fireplace with a debug like planter thing. And then I made another basement floor and sized down these, I think they're like set pieces from Get Famous. And basically they're lights, so you can turn them on and off. But that kind of just makes it look like, you know, there's a little fire pit going, which I really like. But yeah, in here we just have a couple of coffins. I figured, you know, maybe this would be Lucian's. We would have Evangeline's because she really likes red, and then Briar's as well. Because they are the only, currently they are the only full vampires in the house. Obviously Abel is also a vampire, but he's still a child, so he's like vampire form hasn't manifested yet. And then we have obviously Adrastea, who's an alien, Adrastea, Ezekiel, and then Aurelia, who are all aliens. So yeah, they're the aliens of the family. They're actually not in any of their disguises, which is weird. But yeah, so that's the little family. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this house. It's absolutely gigantic and took me forever to actually get done as well. But yeah, so here's a couple of quick little floor plan shots for you guys in case you wanted to see the floor plan. So yeah, we have the upstairs, we have the main floor, then we have the first basement level and the second basement level as well. So yeah, those are the floor plan shots. Feel free to pause it or anything like that if you want to take a closer look at the floor plan. But yeah, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it has been super long, and this tour video has, or this tour portion has probably been all over the place with phones going off and my headphones going off, and you know, it's just been very interrupted. I'm sorry about that. But I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. If you did, give the video a like. If you're new to the channel and you want to see more Sims content, feel free to hit the subscribe button. I promise, usually my videos aren't this chaotic, but it's been a very long one and it's been a very long day. So yeah, But if you want to see more Sims content, feel free to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell as well to be notified of whenever I upload a new video. This build is up on the gallery if you want to go ahead and download it. All of the download information will be in the description. I will also make sure to have the family uploaded to the gallery as well in case you want to go ahead and download those guys and maybe like play with them or come up with your own storyline for them or anything like that. They are completely custom content free as well because they are for my save files, same as this build. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it, hope you're all having a great week, and I'll talk to you guys all in my very next video. Bye everyone.